I'm Rachel Morrison, and this is the story of how my sister's biggest triumph became her most humiliating defeat. Sometimes karma needs a little help, and I was more than happy to provide it. Let me take you back to where it all began. Our father, James Morrison, built Morrison Enterprises from scratch 30 years ago. It started as a small consulting firm and grew into a Fortune 500 company. Growing up, my older sister Diana and I were always competitive, but she took it to another level. Diana was the golden child. Straight A's, elite business school, perfect wardrobe, and a carefully cultivated image of corporate success. I was different. I preferred hands-on experience to textbooks, starting my own small businesses while still in college instead of pursuing an MBA. Dad appreciated my entrepreneurial spirit, but Diana always dismissed my achievements as playing at business. 5 years ago, Dad offered us both positions in the company. Diana got a senior management role in operations, while I started in business development. Within 3 years, my division's revenue had tripled. Diana's department, meanwhile, was struggling with high turnover and missed targets, though she always managed to blame others for the failures. Then came the inheritance bombshell. Our grandmother Rose passed away last year, leaving me her vast real estate portfolio. Diana got some jewelry and a vacation home, but I inherited over 30 commercial properties across the city, including, ironically, the gleaming skyscraper that housed Morrison Enterprises. I kept this inheritance quiet at Grandma's request. Watch and learn about people when they don't know your true position, she'd always said. She taught me everything about real estate investment while Diana was too busy climbing the corporate ladder to visit her. That's when Diana launched her master plan to get rid of me. It started small, important emails mysteriously disappeared. My presentations got rescheduled at the last minute. Key documents went missing before client meetings. But I documented everything, watching as Diana's scheme unfolded. The final strike came during our biggest client presentation of the year. I'd spent months working on a $100 million deal, but when I opened my presentation file in front of the client, instead of my carefully prepared slides, there was a collection of cat memes. Diana had sabotaged my laptop while borrowing it that morning. She played her part perfectly, stepping in with a backup presentation that she'd apparently prepared just in case. Dad was furious about my unprofessional behavior. The next day, Diana convinced him that my incompetence was hurting the company. "Daddy," she'd said, her voice dripping with fake concern, "we need to talk about Rachel. She's clearly not cut out for this level of business. It's embarrassing for everyone." I sat there in Dad's office, listening as Diana listed my supposed failures. The missing emails, Rachel's disorganization, the rescheduled presentations. She's obviously not prepared. The sabotaged client meeting, a childish attempt to blame others for her mistakes. Dad looked tired, torn between his daughters. "Rachel, maybe Diana's right. Perhaps you need some time away to develop your skills." "Time away?" I laughed quietly. "You mean you're firing me?" Diana didn't even try to hide her smirk. "It's time to stop pretending you're capable of business, little sister. Leave it to the professionals." I stood up slowly, gathering my dignity. "Is that really what you want, Dad?" He couldn't meet my eyes. "Clean out your office by the end of the day. We'll call it a sabbatical." As I packed my belongings, Diana strutted around the office, already telling everyone she'd be taking over my department. "It's for the best," she announced loudly. "We need experienced leadership, not amateur hour." I left quietly that evening, watching Diana pose for photos in my former office. She'd planned a celebration for the following month. her promotion party, where Dad would officially announce her as the new executive vice president. What Diana didn't know was that I'd been expecting something like this. For the past year, I'd been documenting her schemes, collecting evidence, and quietly making arrangements. The building's property management company, which I secretly owned, had been gathering interesting data about Diana's after-hours activities in the office. As I drove home that night, my phone buzzed with a text from Diana. "Don't worry, I'll take good care of your office. Though I'm planning some renovations, that wall color is as tasteless as your business strategies." I smiled, thinking about the changes I was planning too. Diana wanted to renovate? Well, in 1 month, she'd learn exactly what kind of renovations a building's owner can demand. The next few weeks were busy. I had meetings with lawyers, accountants, and the building's management team. Diana's promotion party would be her crowning achievement, and my moment to reveal just how badly she miscalculated. The invitation arrived a week before the event. "Please join us in celebrating Diana Morrison's promotion to executive vice president." The irony of being invited to celebrate my own ousting wasn't lost on me. The night before the party, I reviewed everything one last time. The evidence of Diana's sabotage was organized. The building's security footage was ready. The legal papers were prepared. And most importantly, my grandmother's inheritance documents were in order. Tomorrow, Diana would learn an expensive lesson about underestimating people. As I laid out my outfit for the party, a crisp white suit that Grandma Rose had helped me pick out, I thought about her words. "Power isn't about who shouts the loudest, dear. It's about who waits for the perfect moment to whisper the truth." The day of Diana's promotion party arrived bright and clear. The entire 50th floor of Morrison Tower had been transformed into a lavish event space. Diana had spared no expense, using company money, of course, as I documented in my records. I arrived early, watching the caterers set up from the quiet corner of my grandmother's favorite coffee shop across the street. Diana had chosen an Excellence in Leadership theme for her party, with banners celebrating her visionary business acumen. The irony would be delicious. At 6 p.m. sharp, I walked into Morrison Tower. The security guards, who'd known me since childhood, but now reported to me as the building's owner, gave subtle nods. Everything was ready. The party was in full swing when I stepped out of the elevator. Diana held court near the floor-to-ceiling windows, wearing an expensive new designer dress, champagne glass in hand. Dad stood nearby, looking proud but tired. Neither noticed me enter. And then, Diana was saying loudly to a group of executives, I discovered the extent of the mismanagement in Rachel's department. "Daddy, I hate to say it, but firing her was the best decision for the company." "Is that what happened, Diana?" I asked quietly, stepping into the circle. The room fell silent. Diana's smile flickered slightly. "Rachel, I'm surprised you came. Though I suppose you needed one last look at what real success looks like." "Oh, I know exactly what success looks like," I replied. "Grandma Rose taught me well." "Grandma? What does she have to do with—" Diana started, but was interrupted by the arrival of a distinguished-looking man in a suit. "Ms. Morrison," he said, addressing me, "the documents you requested are ready." Diana laughed. "Documents? Are you playing at business again, Rachel?" "Actually," I smiled, "I'm conducting business. Everyone, I'd like you to meet Mr. Harrison, Chief Counsel for Rose Property Holdings." I turned to address the room. "Many of you don't know this, but my grandmother, Rose Morrison, was one of the largest commercial real estate owners in the city. When she passed away last year, she left me her entire portfolio, including this building. The champagne glass slipped from Diana's hand, shattering on the marble floor. Dad's face went pale. "That's right," I continued. "I'm your landlord, and as the building owner, I've been very interested in some recent activities. Mr. Harrison, please share what we found." The lawyer began distributing folders to the board members present. Our investigation revealed numerous lease violations by Morrison Enterprises, specifically by Ms. Diana Morrison. Unauthorized access to secure areas, tampering with building systems, and using building services for personal gain. "This is ridiculous," Diana sputtered. "Daddy, do something." But Dad was staring at the security footage being played on the room's large screens. Footage showing Diana breaking into my office late at night, tampering with my computer, and shredding documents. "We also have evidence," I continued, "of financial misconduct. Diana's been charging personal expenses as building maintenance costs, including this party. The SEC will be very interested in that." Diana's face had turned an interesting shade of red. "You planned this. You're just jealous because I'm more successful." "Successful?" I laughed. "Diana, you've been living in a fantasy. Your department's real numbers are a disaster. The only reason you've appeared successful is through sabotage and cooking the books. Speaking of which," I nodded to Sarah from accounting, who stepped forward with more documents. "Ms. Morrison asked me to help hide the real numbers," she said quietly. "I've been keeping separate books at Rachel's request, documenting everything." Dad finally found his voice. "Diana, is this true?" "Of course not. She's lying." "They're all lying." Diana looked around wildly, but she could see she was losing the room. "This is just a pathetic attempt by Rachel to..." "To what?" I interrupted. "To protect the company, to expose fraud, to show exactly who has been pretending to be capable of business." I turned to the board members. "You'll find complete documentation of everything in those folders, including Diana's systematic sabotage of my department and her financial misconduct." The next hour was chaos. Diana alternated between threats and tears as the board members reviewed the evidence. Dad sat heavily in a chair, looking years older as he realized how thoroughly his golden child had deceived him. Finally, the board chairman stood up. "In light of this evidence, I move for the immediate termination of Diana Morrison's employment and a full investigation of her activities." The vote was unanimous. As security prepared to escort Diana out, I had one last surprise. "Oh, and Diana, remember how you were planning to renovate my old office? Well, as building owner, I'm exercising my right to reclaim that entire floor for property management purposes. You need to have your things out by tomorrow." "You can't do this to me," she shrieked. "Daddy." But Dad just shook his head, finally seeing his daughters clearly for the first time. In the aftermath, Morrison Enterprises underwent a major restructuring. The board asked me to return as executive vice president, my former position plus Diana's intended role. Dad apologized profusely, finally recognizing that my different approach to business wasn't a weakness, but a strength. Diana? Last I heard, she was trying to start her own company in another state, though it's hard to do that with an SEC investigation on your record. She still tells anyone who will listen that I betrayed the family, but the truth has a way of outlasting lies. A month after the party, I was sorting through some old photos when I found one of Grandma Rose standing in front of Morrison Tower the day she bought it. She was smiling that knowing smile of hers, the one that said she could see further ahead than most people. I hung that photo in my office, my new office, on the top floor that I now used for both building management and my Morrison Enterprises duties. Under it, I placed her favorite quote, "Success isn't about having the corner office, dear. It's about knowing which corners others cut to get there." Dad stops by more often now, usually with questions about both the business and the building. We're rebuilding our relationship, stronger than before, because it's based on truth and respect, rather than appearances. As for me, I kept Diana's excellence in leadership banners from her party. They hang in the building's management office as a reminder that true leadership isn't about titles or corner offices. It's about integrity, patience, and sometimes, just sometimes, about letting people's own arrogance become their downfall. The company is thriving now, posting record profits since we cleaned house. Turns out, when you remove toxic leadership and actually value merit over manipulation, good things happen. Who knew? Sometimes, on late evenings when I'm the last one in the office, I look out over the city lights and think about how differently things might have turned out if Diana had just been content to succeed on her own merits rather than trying to destroy others. But then again, as Grandma Rose would say, some people have to lose everything before they realize what they had. Diana lost a job, a reputation, and a sister. I gained a company, a building, and most importantly, the truth. The best revenge isn't about destroying your enemies. It's about being patient enough to let them destroy themselves while you build something better from the ruins they leave behind.